Hello, we are from Group 2, and we are going to present our findings on Assignment 1 for Essentials of Management Accounting for our group assignment. So our team consists of 7 people, myself, Muhammad Aaron Lyons, Andra Mikhail, Imran Daniel, Irul Hifni, Danish Naufal, Yukta Saravanan, Rajeswari Arumugam Pillai. And the people who are going to be presenting today are Andra Mikhail, Danish Naufal, Yukta, and Rajeswari. So now we'll be moving on to the first question, which is what are the objectives of the study related to management accounting, which is going to be presented by Rajeswari.
Okay. First and foremost, the objective of this study related to management accounting is to identify and highlight the management accounting practice, which is Singapore, which is these four countries is Singapore, Malaysia, China, and India. It is hoped that this review's finding will shed light on whether or not we are giving our students the knowledge and skill that uh, practitioners generally require. Next, a comparative investigation of these management accounting techniques, improving the body of knowledge in the field of management accounting practices in Asia. Last but not least, it will shed light on whether national culture plays a significant role in the explanation of management accounting methods. This is because it is relevant since it has often been cited that accounting is a product of its environment. That's all from me, and yeah.
All right, thank you, Rajeswari. So the next point for our presentation is question 2, which is explain the extent to which traditional management accounting planning and control tools such as budget, standard costing, and CVP analysis are used by companies operating in India, China, Singapore, and Malaysia. And this part will be presented by Muhammad Danish.
Hi. So the question 2 is about explain the extent to which traditional management accounting planning and I repeat. Explain the extent to which traditional management accounting planning and control tools such as budget, standard costing, and CVP analysis are used by companies operating in India, China, Singapore, and Malaysia. In India, Singapore, and Malaysia, widespread use of traditional tools like budgets, standard costing, and CVP analysis. In China, limited use of budget, only 4% find them useful. Minimal adoption of standard costing and CVP analysis, especially in shows. Reliance on government-driven capital allocation reduce need for capital budgeting. Last point, interest growing as China transitions to a market economy. Next slide.
All right, thank you, Danish. Now we'll be moving on to question 3, which is explain extent to which contemporary management accounting tools such as ABC, target costing, and the balance scorecard (BSC) are used by companies operating in India, China, Singapore, and Malaysia. And this part of the presentation will be presented by Andra.
Thank you, Sue, for that presentation. Now I'll be explaining about my part of the presentation. It's about target costing. Target costing. In India, 35% of firms have adopted it, ranked fourth in perceived benefits, and is expected to grow. Malaysia, 41% adoption among firms, 4% of companies are planning futures adoption, similarly increasing focus on cost control. For my third point, China limited adoption data as Chinese firms traditionally rely on state-driven processes. In Singapore, no significant data available on target costing. Activity-based costing for my last point for this slide. Singapore, 13% adoption is used primarily to improve accuracy in overhead cost allocations by focusing on cost-driven activities. Next slide. Continuing with my presentation, Malaysia adoption grew from 4% in 1998 to 28% by 2002, showing increased interest in precise cost management. In India, 20% of companies have adopted ABC. China, adoption data is limited likely due to reliance on traditional methods. Balanced scorecard, which is known as BSC. In India, 40% adoption, particularly in larger firms, as it helps align business strategy with performance metrics. For my second last point, Malaysia, 13% adoption with potential growth. For my last point, China, limited data on BSC use through interest may increase as firms becomes more market driven. Thank you for listening. I'll be passing it on for my next group mate. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Andra. Now moving on to our final question for today's presentation is why traditional management accounting tools are still being used by a large majority of firms in Asia. And this point is going to be presented by Yukta.
Okay, thank you, Andra. So, a survey was conducted in India, and the survey respondents mentioned that the benefits of traditional management accounting practices were high. The benefits are high because the managers in India will usually avoid risk and they are also conservative and less innovative. Furthermore, contemporary management accounting involves high costs. Thus, companies would obviously go for the cheaper option. Next, there is a lack of awareness of new techniques, expertise, and top management support in developing countries. Therefore, the companies in those developing countries will just stick to the ones they are most comfortable with. Last but not least, there was just simply no reason to change. That's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. And that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you from Group 2, and thank you, everyone, for attending today's presentation.